everyone. Thank you for joining us on LinkedIn Live for another episode of Life is Dataful. I'm Barbara Chai, Global Head of Content Strategy at Publicis Sapient. And on this show, I examine data and dataful experiences through the lens of digital business transformation. Today, we're going to take a closer look at public transportation and how mass transit has been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. We will discuss how data can inform and determine how we get around as cities around the world begin to reopen. In the comments below, you can read some of our recent thought leadership on public transit in a post-COVID-19 world and how to get from point A to point B more safely and efficiently through the use of data and technology. But first, let's look at the numbers. Apple has a mobility trends report that is updated daily. We can see that in mid-March, for example, when New York City closed down, transit use, shown in the purple line, declined sharply and has stayed at low levels ever since. By contrast, driving, shown with the red line, has steadily risen and is close to returning to baseline levels from before the pause. When searching other cities in the US, we see similar trends. Los Angeles, Chicago, San Francisco, and Boston all show a steep drop in transit use in March, with only slight increases over April and May. The same can be seen globally in cities such as London, Paris, and Singapore. There may be several reasons why road traffic is returning to baseline levels while public transit is not. Those who typically commuted to work via public transit may still be working from home or may now be unemployed. There may also be fear of exposure to the virus on public transit, prompting many to now choose solo modes of transport, such as driving. But as cities now contemplate reopening and stay-at-home restrictions loosen, what does that mean for public transit and the millions of riders who still depend on the subways and buses every day? Many riders will continue to be wary of public transportation and fear exposing themselves to the virus. There are ways mass transit authorities can help riders feel safer by using technology and data. For example, trip planning apps with enhanced functions informed by data, like Apple's Mobility Trends report, give riders real-time information about seat capacity and best travel routes, so they can make better decisions about what time to leave or which train to board. Other data-driven measures that can help riders travel safely include contactless payment and boarding, improved two-way communication with transit authorities, and recommendations for alternate mobility options such as ride, bike, and scooter sharing during peak hours. You can read more about all these options and our point of view on public transit in a post-COVID-19 world in the articles that are posted below in the comments.
Hey there, Barbara. I am broadcasting from my YouTube studio, aka my basement, like all YouTubers do. Well, I want to tell you what the Dataful Thing is this week. This week it is this. How is this Dataful? Well, this is the little chime that stood in the door sill of my parents' tofu shop. And every time the door opened, we knew a customer was out front. And it was like a sensor. It was able to tell us from back in the tofu making area that a customer was out front. When this went off, my dad would say, "Run, son." So basically, this is an example of a dataful experience. Super primitive, but it's when I give you context that in business, we use a lot of data. Not just for big businesses, but small businesses. And that's why datafulness is important. Back to you, Barbara.
Thanks for that, John. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Life is Dataful. If you have any questions about public transit or being dataful, you can leave them below in the comments and we'll get back to you. Please join us again next week here on LinkedIn Live for another episode of Life is Dataful. Until then, I hope you stay healthy and stay safe. Thank you so much for joining us.